Alright guys, so here we have another example, and we're given an equation of an ellipse, and they want us to write it in standard form. So again, here is my equation of an ellipse in general form. They want us to write it in standard form. Now, before starting this video, I suggest that you look at my previous example that I did on writing an ellipse in standard form before trying this example. Okay, let's get into this problem then. So, looking at this, just like the last video, the first thing that you want to do is you want to group together your variables. Okay, so in this case I have x and y variables, so I want to group them together. So for example, I'll have the following. I'll have 16x squared, right, minus 128x plus 9y squared plus 108y plus 436, and this is all equal to 0. Okay, so at this point, remember from the previous video, okay, we have this constant here on the end, and what we want to do is we want to move that constant over to the right side. So in order to do that, right, we're going to subtract 436 on both sides, and when we do that, we get the following. We will get equal to minus 436. Okay. So now at this point, remember, okay, essentially what we're trying to do is we are trying to factor here and here. Okay. And in order to factor here and here, we need to complete the square. Okay, so remember, when you complete the square, you need to be in the following form, where you have x squared plus bx. All right. In this case, it's going to be y squared plus by. All right. However, I'm running into a problem here because notice, right, I have these 16 here. Okay. I need to be in this form, x squared plus bx. I have this 16, meaning I'm going to have to pull that 16 out. Same thing here. I have a 9, right? I need to be in this format. Okay, so I need to pull that 9 out. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, and then we'll be able to complete the square. So let's go ahead and erase this. And we're simply just going to pull these out. So I'm going to pull the 16, so I'll have 16, and then I'll have x squared, right? And then we have to do 128 divided by 16. Okay, we get 8, so minus 8x. Okay, same thing, let's pull out this y, so we have plus 9, right? And then y squared, again, 108 divided by 9, and we're going to get 12, so plus 12y equal to negative 436. Okay, we are now in the correct form, right? X squared plus bx, right? Y squared plus by, okay? And it's okay that this is minus, that doesn't matter, okay? So we plus or minus, keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and do this, right? So now we know we have to do the following. If we have x squared plus bx, right? We then do plus b over 2 squared, okay? We're going to do that on both sides of the equation, all right? So let's go ahead and do the next step, which is completing the square. So we'll have 16, right? X squared minus 8x. Now my b value here is going to be 8, right? So 8 divided by 2 is going to be 4. 4 squared is 16, plus 16. Okay, right here we have y squared plus 12y. Again, my b value here is going to be 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 squared is 36. Minus 436. Now, careful here, okay? What we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So, okay, don't get tripped up here. Don't add 16 and add 36 to this side because that would be wrong, right? Because look at what you pulled out. You're not really just adding a 16 here, right? Remember, this is going to be distributed inside these parentheses. So, it's not just a positive 16, it's going to be 16 times 16. Okay, so in that case, it's 16 times 16. We get 256. So we have to add 256 here. Okay, we're going to do the same thing here, right? So 9 times 36, we get 324. Okay, so just be careful with that step there. If you end up pulling something out, just make sure, okay, when you write it on the right side, you write it correctly, okay? All right. Next step, we want to go ahead and factor here and here, okay? And then we can clean up this side. So we'll have the following. We'll have 16, right? Then we'll have x minus 4 squared, right? And we have plus 9, and then we have y. This is going to be plus 6 squared equal to, let's go ahead and do this out. We have negative 436 plus 256 plus 324, and we get 144. Okay, we are almost done here. Now remember, when you have an equation of an ellipse, you want it to be equal to 1. Okay, notice here I have it equal to 144. So think about mathematically how you can get rid of that 144 and make it 1. Right? Well, you can divide by 144, right? So for example, I'm going to divide by 144. And again, we're dealing with an equation, so we need to balance it. So divide by 144, divide by 144. Okay, and we are essentially done here. We can go ahead and write our final answer. Okay, and we'll do that in a different color. So here, let's just go ahead and clean this up. We know that 16 goes into itself once, and 16 will go into 144, right, 9 times. So we can have x minus 4 squared all over 9, right, plus, same thing here, 9 goes into itself once, and 9 will go into 144 16 times. So we have y plus 6 squared all over 16. And again, this will just be equal to 1 now. Okay, so this here is going to be our final answer of our equation in standard form. And from this, we know a lot about this ellipse, right? This ellipse is going to be vertical, right? And again, we know that because look at our denominators here. The bigger of the two is going to be your a squared value when you're talking about an ellipse. So in that case, it's right here. This must be my a squared value. And since my a squared value is underneath my y, that tells me that I'm dealing with a vertical ellipse. In other words, it has a vertical major axis and a horizontal minor axis. All right? We also know the center. Again, our center will be HK, right? So if we pull that out, it will be 4, comma, negative 6. That will be our center. Okay? And this problem is now complete.